Hi guys, I'm back again today with a continuation to part 2 of the Netherlands Explained. You might get this part 1 and 2 together, like in the same day, because I didn't upload yesterday since everything is going down the drain in terms of my technologies. They're acting up. But anyways, we're getting things like rolling back to the normalcy again. So anyways, yeah, this is the part 2. I'm really excited to check it out, so let's get it. Don't forget to subscribe, click the bell button if you haven't already, and let's get it.
With such an amazing response to our video on the Netherlands, we just have to go deeper into the low-lying country. And you know why this is clever if you watched the first video, so go ahead and do that if you haven't watched it yet. But don't forget to come back to this one when you're done, and pay the respect back to these Yankees.
I'm here. Like I never left.
No, we didn't mix up the United States with its 236 times smaller country, yet the USA was forever marked by the place across the Atlantic, as the origin story of their international nickname Yankees leads back to the Dutch. The legends state that as the area around the state of New York was known as New Netherland in the 7th century, the English inhabiting this space started calling the Dutch settlers their Yankees, as a mocking term because so many of them were called Jan or Kies, typical Dutch names, right? There are other Netherlands-related theories to the origin story, all of them arriving that the famed New York Yankees sign, seen by everyone and worn by many New Yorkers, Americans, baseball fans or not, can be squeezed into the list of Dutch symbols. As we keep proving, such a densely populated country is equally compactly filled with interesting facts, people and their achievements, collectively or individual. One of the unified accomplishments is that the Dutch are the most proficient nation when it comes to speaking English as a second language. Probably another great reason why there were so many of you Dutchies on the last video. It's true, the Dutch are leading the pack of the non-native English speakers, even ahead of the Scandinavian countries. And speaking of many people watching our videos, make sure you also subscribe to the channel so you get notified when a new video comes out. Unsurprisingly, like the Northern Europeans, the Dutch have also infiltrated Hollywood, seamlessly, stealthily, with no accents or wooden clogged footsteps tipping them off. Only the names, like the original X-Men star Famke Janssen, known for the role of John Grey, is from Netherlands, as are the Game of Thrones cast members Carice Van Houten and Michelle Huisman.
Do you speak their tongue? Tell them to lift their swords.
While they were all preceded by the memorable Rutger Hauer of the Blade Runner fame and the director of Robocop, Starship Troopers and Total Recall, Paul Verhoeven.
Well, there are a lot of assholes, yes.
The Netherlands has a history of artistic influence that spans centuries though. Their painters left unmissable marks on the once blank canvases of history. There's something for everyone in the works of the Dutch artists. Whether it's Van Gogh, who went mad before the world went crazy for him, or the two possible Gisling enjoyers
Van Gogh,
Johannes
like
Vermeer and
Dutch,
Rembrandt, who never left their
in a
country,
Dutch
or
way.
Hieronymus Bosch, who was definitely not a madman. Definitely. Clearly.
I've heard the name before of Boch, but I have never seen it.
He didn't predict the destiny of Van Gogh nearly 4 centuries prior. Now the Dutch dominates a different field of arts, electronic music, across its subgenres. Just listening to DJs would require a video of its own, but some of the most well-known names include Martin Garrix, Armin van Buuren, Tiesto, Nicky Romero, Afrojack and Hardwell. But the country hasn't just influenced arts, the world's biggest sport has been molded by Dutch minds. Football, or soccer if you're an actual Yankee, has been revolutionized by the Dutch, and the Netherlands is known as the place for producing textbook technical perfect players with an attacking mindset, while the country's biggest success remains the 1988 European Championship triumph.
Oh, the goal! What a goal! What a schitterend doelpunt! Is that yours?
Besides their football impact, which would also require a video of its own, the Dutch can be very proud of their compatriot Max Verstappen, who won the F1 World Championship in 2021.
And it's going Dutch in 2021!
I don't watch Formula 1,
with field
so
hockey
I don't
and korfball. Okay, as other popular sports alongside ice skating. The latter makes a lot of sense considering the importance of gliding on frozen water in the history of the country. During the 80 Years' War, mentioned in the first video, the Dutch faced a siege of Amsterdam by the Spanish Empire. During the winter, the port of the city was frozen and the Spaniards started marching clumsily towards the city across the ice. Yet they were faced with a remarkable sight. The Dutch soldiers put on their skates and met their charge with maneuverability that was impossible to combat. After firing their weapons, the skate shooters returned swiftly to safety to reload. The Spanish commander Duke of Alva didn't hide his respect after the retreat. It was a thing never heard of before today, to see a body of musketeers fighting like that on a frozen sea. Now, in happier times, skating is a part of Dutch culture through Elfstedentocht. That is the 11 cities tour ice skating competition on natural ice in the province of Friesland. The almost 200 kilometers of gliding area to be covered by several hundred competitors in the speed skating competition and over 15,000 leisure participants. A marathon that is finished in 7 hours by the fastest ice sprinters. The only issue is that there have only been 3 tours held in the last 50 years, the last one coming in 1997. Precisely because it is held on natural ice and the load of 15,000 plus people requires a certain thickness, with the last real chance of Elfstedentocht coming in 2012 before it was cancelled for safety reasons when the temperature suddenly rose. So climate change is already affecting the Netherlands. The Netherlands, guys, nothing else. We stated this before. Yet, it's still impressive that the competition held,
Yes.
ever at all,
You're the only one who calls
at
it
any
Holland.
time, considering that most of the country should be underwater, if not for the Dutch ingenuity and engineering. None more monumental than the conquering of their newest province, Flevoland, from the hands of, well, the sea. Through a very complex and long process of drainage and building barriers, starting in early 20th century and culminating in 1986 with the founding of the 1,412 kilometers squared province, nearly all consisting of reclaimed land. The majority of the area is used for agriculture,
looks like a
but the
duck.
total population of the territory is reaching 500,000 already. With one of the 2 parts of Flevoland, Flevopolda, being the largest artificial island in the world. With such resourcefulness, it's not surprising that the Dutch have been hired by other places like Dubai for their needs regarding man-made islands. These battles with the sea and the fact that the country's canals, lakes and ditches makes it completely logical that submarines and Wi-Fi were invented here. Besides the microscope, telescope and Wi-Fi's younger stepbrother Bluetooth technology. As much as sea is the enemy of the Dutchies, it's also their biggest ally, as 82.5% of the Netherlands' GDP
Sorry
comes
to interrupt, like I always do. But anyways, Netherlands has been like, or maybe just to me, I don't know about everyone else, right? But it has been like the silent rich kid. I think I've said this before. I feel like I've said this before. You know, they don't boast about like, oh, we invented the Bluetooth, the Wi-Fi, the submarine and all that stuff, right? They're just doing their own thing, you know. It's like that friend that you have that you didn't even know that they were rich. Like you thought they were okay, right? They were like average. But then one day that friend invites you to their house and you're like, excuse me, you are a prince or you are a queen or a princess, because your house is like a freaking castle, but you never told us that you were rich. And then that friend is like, no, I'm not rich, my parents are, and yeah, I feel like this house is too big for us, it's just my parents and me, and look at where we live, it's ridiculous, isn't it? And then when you go to like your friend's room, it's like rich story kind of, right? What is this? Because I never knew any of these until I started reacting.
the enemy of the Dutchies, it's also their biggest ally, as 82.5% of the Netherlands' GDP comes from exports. And the key factor in that is the city of Rotterdam, known as the gateway to Europe. The 10th largest port per volume of cargo that goes through them. So large that it's 1.5 the size of Manhattan. And hence, it's not surprising that the Dutch have some of the biggest companies in the world: Shell, Exor, Airbus, Heineken, and of course Philips, with 11 total rankings on the Fortune Global 500 list for the companies with the highest
It's
revenue.
crazy that I know all these brands, but I didn't, except Exor, but I didn't know they were Dutch. I thought Philips was like Japanese, German. I know Shell was probably like American, Airbus, American. But here we are, we're learning. Come on.
Significantly impressive considering the government of the country incentivized emigration after World War II because the infrastructure was so wrecked, resulting in 500,000 leaving for the US, Canada and Australia. Saved by businesses' savviness that has been made on a long tradition dating even before the Dutch East India Company, which many consider the biggest company ever, like including today. It's believed that the business culture was nurtured by the Dutch keeping true to their own way of communicating, strict to the point and honest no matter what.
Recht voor zijn raap is een geliefde uitdrukking in Nederland. En dat betekent dat je meteen van alles en nog wat direct vermeldt.
Stemming in part of the country's significant trading past, when precise and quick exchange of information was of paramount importance. This made the country fertile for companies as much as it is for tulips. And we definitely saw the bluntness in action with every small detail mentioned in the comments of the first video. And while possibly others would mind, we embrace it. Yet this bluntness that might be misregarded as coldness by foreigners is contrasted with a tradition of social tolerance. It ties in with what unfortunately most solely connect the country with. Soft being decriminalized and being legal, etc. That is most of those who don't watch our videos. Still, they are a big reason why Dutch tourism had 20 million international arrivals in 2019. That's way more than the country's population. Their neighbors in Belgium had less than half of that number, and all that despite the Netherlands being a very cloudy country. Still, despite all that unpredictable weather with frequent drizzles and complaining about it, the Dutch are the world's most avid bikers, with 32,000 kilometers of bike roads across the country. And if that number isn't making you dizzy, the city of Utrecht bicycle parking lot / garage absolutely will, with its capacity of 12,500 bikes. So many things, so many people, all in a small space. Yet what's possibly the most inspiring thing about the Netherlands is that despite the crowdedness and being on top of each other while the sea wants to devour them, they have an important word in their culture, gezellig or gezellig. That is hard to translate, but it's understandable to everyone. It refers to the feeling of coziness, fun in a social and relaxed setting, and also a sense of belonging, time spent with loved ones and togetherness. Hopefully this video will also lead you to more gezellig in your own lives.
Oh, that's it. Oh, that was so short and sweet, you know? I don't know, just watching Netherlands or any other like Norway or Germany, all those other places just gives me warmth feeling. I don't know, it feels like home, but it's not necessarily because it's like I've never been. I've never been to any of those places, but for some reason there's a familiarity that resonates within. It's weird, I know, but yeah, this was really beautiful. Very short, but it's okay because you guys will get the part 1 and 2 today. I will probably, let me just try to put it in the same video, or if not, then it will be separate, but it will be uploaded at the same time. Thank you guys for joining. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Bye.